Welcome back everyone to another episode of Obscure Skills Made Playable. Before we begin, I want to thank all of you guys who are commenting in the comment section and talking with me about different build options, build ideas, and just in general. It's always good to think about other ways how you can uh, play the build, right? And that Fexel is very big, of course, so there's always more places where you can improve. So thank you all, and of course, this is yet another obscure skill. We're gonna be using Flamethrower Trap. I think this used to be popular a few years ago, but I didn't play back then, so I'm not sure how people used to play this. I'm not a very big fan of traps myself. I do like mines, but traps are just, I don't know, they just don't hit the spot. But regardless, I made it work somewhat. This build is fairly tanky. I'm happy with how defensive it is. The damage, well, the damage could be a little bit better, sadly. But as usual, let's start off with tier 16, so you can guys see what you can expect in maps. So avoid elements is a little bit bad because we do want to proc ignite against tougher mobs, um, because flamethrower trap gets extra damage when it's hitting a burning enemy. But we should be fine. This is a tier 16 after all. So basically just throw a trap and it does this. And you know, it's not bad. The build is a little bit slow because I'm not using Quicksilver. If you want, you can drop a Wise Oak and use Quicksilver, but as this build is already a little bit lacking the damage department, I decided that maybe Wise Oak could be good. Plus, it also gives me a little bit of cold resistance, since cold is my lowest element, uncapped element, and I made sure that fire was my highest one, so we can penetrate some fire res. But basically, you just throw these traps around. Physical damage is a little bit of a problem, as you can see. I do have both body and helmet with Physics Chaos, because I am Chaos Inoculation, so that's basically about it. Well, I do have Endurance Charges as well with the War Cries, so it's not that bad, but definitely could be better. But I'm not sure how. You can get more physical mitigation. I used to have 3% on the shield as well, but I just dropped it recently for some more mana regen, because mana regen is a little bit well, it's not a problem anymore, but it used to be. So I slapped in clarity, and right now, like, the only downs of this build is basically just the cooldown of the trap, even though I am using advanced traps, which, well, it means that I had to took a little bit of spike damage over there. Advanced traps does make me lose a little bit of damage because it doesn't give damage directly, but it does make me have traps on a much lower cooldown, so I think it was worth it. Just primarily it's against the bosses, right? Like in maps, I guess, as well, because you can throw the traps more often and there's less downtime just waiting for the traps to come back up. As you can see, my gems also aren't all leveled yet, but it's fine. Not missing out on too much, just a little bit. So let's try getting the boss, but since they do avoid ailments, we are going to be losing a little bit of damage, actually quite a bit. I have a pretty cool Arcan's brand setup. I'll show you guys after this. We're going to go into the items after this, and ooh, very nice, an abomination. Maybe we can run that one. But yeah, so first I want to start off with items. I'm not gonna do an eater. Obviously it can do it, just that he moves a little bit, so it's a little bit bad when the bosses move. Mobile bosses are pretty bad. So this is just your standard energy shield gear, right? And of course, since we are Chaos Inoculation, so Fizz is taken as Chaos. I did get flasks on here because we are, I'm gonna show you the tree as well, but we are using the Pathfinder Ascendancy from Scion. And with this, we sustain our flasks, although I do have them on at the end of the flask effect rather than full, just so we can make use of that Pathfinder Ascendancy. Technically, you don't need the flask charge gain here, but I slapped it on just in case, because the minimum was 80%, so let's say you don't proc the 25% not used 4 times in a row, you're gonna run out. And I didn't want that to happen, so I just slapped it on just in case. And right now the minimum is like 96% or something, so not gonna run out of flasks ever. The gear, just your standard energy shield stuff. Now I did buy all of the fractured bases here, all these 3, and crafted them myself with the bow essences. Honestly, it was much cheaper than I expected. Each base was 2 divines. Obviously, you know, they're like tier 2, tier 3, tier 3, but I didn't really want to spend too much money. This is more of a baseline, right? So 2 divines, and I slapped on some essence of woe. I made sure that I have just a good amount of energy shield, and the suffixes were pretty much whatever. As you can see, the suffixes here are pretty much non-existent, right? Here I actually was kind of lucky with the suffixes, but you know, here for example, it's like 28 regen and 25 attack accuracy is useless, but whatever, it's fine. Bought the ring as well, a couple of divines. Actually, I think this one might have been cheaper. Polaric Devastation works pretty well with the Arcanist brand setup, and Dash is really strong, of course. And this wand, obviously it was the minion wand, so I synthesized it. It's plus 2 divines, and I bought the base itself for 2 divines as well, which in total was 4 divines, but realistically you can get something better for around like 6 divines. You do need 1 open suffix for because I have Bone Offering in here. I'll show you the passive tree as well. And of course you want to get some cooldown reduction, so belt and boots. For boots, I also just used Essence of Woe. This item was the one where I spent the most amount of essence on it. I think I spent like 150 essence before I got the cooldown recovery rate on here with a decent decent mods. Well, prefixes. And this I bought. Realistically, you don't need to have an unveiled mod, right? And there's also Shaper or Warlord. They are gonna be a little bit hard to craft, so you can choose if you want to craft it yourself. Maybe even with some alt spams, because you don't really need many mods in here. I did want to get something with flasks, either duration or charges. So I bought this. It was very cheap. I think it was like 1 divine, but you know, you might not be able to find something similar to this. You might need to craft this yourself. Just make sure that you have something with flask and cooldown recovery rate. Other than that, you know, just whatever. Obviously, you know, all the items can be better, but as a baseline, they serve me pretty good. Oh, the shield, yeah. I also bought the fractured shield. This was 80 chaos. I think not a lot of people are using this, but for me it was good because I wanted some more luck. And I actually lucked out with the... I was also spamming Woe on here, and I lucked out with Fire Spell Gem. I'm very happy with this. And then well, the suffixes were bad, so I reforged them with crit, and actually managed to get to tier 1. So pretty lucky here. Realistically, this shield is probably a little bit expensive if you were to buy one, but you know, you don't have to have +1 fire gems, but it's obviously good. So yeah, these are the items. The Arcanist brand has flammability linked with the Flame Surge, as well as Flame Surge of Combustion, specifically, because I want it to ignite. The Burning Ground also serves a purpose in case the ignite runs out, but it doesn't matter too much. It doesn't have to be Flame Surge, just any skill that has an ignite chance. And I have Combustion on here, so basically 50% chance. Arcanist brand procs it 3 times, 3 of each, and we are pretty much guaranteed to ignite at least once. And it does get a little bit annoying recasting the brand, but it does give us a little bit more damage against bosses. Against mobs, as you can see, it didn't really matter at all, and wasn't even using it. Flame Dash, Arcane Surge, just for good measure, not mandatory. By now I have enough. With Clarity you have enough mana regen. and Assassin's Mark, of course. You don't really have to have this quality. The 5%, since the traps don't trigger it, it's only Flame Surge that's going to be triggering it, so not mandatory. But the way that I have my tree and gem setup, I remove charge mines for advanced traps, so I kind of figured, an extra chance or two could be good for the power charges against bosses to just get them a little bit faster. Of course, we still have them with the charge duration and everything, but sometimes it just takes a while if you're unlucky with the procs. So this gives us frenzy, gives us power, and then Dominus converts everything to power charges. And that's why I dropped the charge traps, because I figured that if I have 5 power charges, interconnection is just too good. Well, maybe it's not too good, but it's okay, right? When it comes to the tree, let's go over the ascendancy. So Forbidden Flesh and Flame for Saboteur. Generally, it doesn't matter which one. I'm not using the starting point anyway, so however you want to do this, do it. I did want Dex for something, I can't remember. Something needed Dex. Oh, yeah, the traps. So I do need a little bit of Dex, right? 100, 114. So Pathfinder here. The paths can be whatever. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't. We're not using them anyway. Maybe if you wanna play with the witch pathing somehow, but generally doesn't matter. And Necromancer is probably a little bit more expensive than Saboteur for Forbidden Flesh and Flame. So I chose Saboteur. Actually, I already had Saboteur because I rerolled the Scion and it also had Saboteur. It's one of the better ascendancies from Scion. But yeah, the tree, using Light of Meaning over here for some fire damage, and Natural Instinct over here for a little bit more AoE as well as skill duration, so the trap lasts a little bit longer. We are getting a bunch of energy shield nodes all over, here, and here as well. So our energy shield pool is pretty big. Taking this, obviously. A power charge duration. Some power charges, right? If you do want to play with advanced traps or maybe without inner conviction, you can get frenzy charge here, but without advanced traps, I don't know how you would be generating them, but maybe you can figure out a way. Maybe on body, an option. Crit nodes, of course. Traps can be damaged is important in this case because they do have a duration and they can be killed. So made sense to take it. Trigger area of effect, of course, just the standard nodes. We do have a little bit of mana. We do need a little bit of mana reserve, so I took this one here, as well as this. You can probably do without this, but it also gives us discipline. Actually, let me see.
I have nothing more to give.
It's not ideal, but it's not too bad. As long as we can proc the Bone Offering. Actually, I can't proc Bone Offering, so we do need a little bit of mana, or maybe run a lower level clarity. But there's ways. For example, if you wanna have a cluster here, you can. But probably your best bet is sacrificing this and going for a spell cluster over here for spell damage, and get the spell block nodes, as well as 2 jewels with spell block and some damage. So if you do that, maybe find some mana reserve as well. And this way you can probably drop these if you get a little bit more mana reserve. Because right now we are using Bone Offering on with the trigger skill, trigger mod. So it does increase the mana cost a little bit, and also I allocated a Hollow Effigy from the amulet, of course. So we have it against the bosses without needing to desecrate, right? It's quite good. 51, 51, 70, 74. So as you can see, well, I mean, it should be 70, 70, but we have this, so. But Bone Offering, real good. Take it. Yeah, but yeah, as I've said, if you wanna get rid of the cluster over here and this one over here, you can get the spell damage cluster with some spell block as well. And I did actually check out the POB. It is better damage-wise. Like you can get around 20% more damage, but you do lose around 24% spell block. So it's really up to you if you wanna do that, right? And then if you get maybe mana reserve corruptions or just a mod on mana reserve, you can then drop these, maybe allocate them somewhere for a little bit more damage. But yeah, this is basically it for the tree. Let's see if there's anything else. Enduring Cry, right? We do have charge duration, so against bosses, you just war cry once every 20 seconds and you're good. So I think it made sense to get this, and also, well, the region, we do have the Zealot's Oath, so technically the region does apply from Enduring Cry, but you know, don't count on it too much. So let's try running a tier 17. Let's see. Power charges, crit is scary. We don't have crit immunity. Too defensive. The build already struggles with DPS, so I don't wanna. Ignite does scare me a little bit because it will make it so we don't regen. But let's try. Let's try. We're gonna use this, less ignite duration, so maybe we'll be fine. As usual, the tree kind of effect. Well, this is quant plus effect, but this is a little bit more on the harder side. Plus the blades, they are a problem because we are Fizz, so we'll see how it goes, but hopefully it's gonna go well. Oh, and also we have vulnerability, so basically any physical hit kills us. Not nice. Yeah, Fizz hurts quite a bit. I am not too happy with that because Malagaro does do physical damage. But as you can see, you kind of have to play a little bit slow, right? A little bit defensive. Well, this is primarily because of all the Fizz mods in here. Don't need to be that defensive. I've run some tier 17s where if the tier 17 is mostly magical damage, for example, those water guys, right? It's not a big deal because our elemental resists are pretty good. Well, they're not great, but we do have a little bit of elemental resists, so elemental damage is not that big of a deal. Let's see. Yeah, as you can see, they don't deal as much damage. I've had builds where these basically insta-kill, but in this case they don't do. Ooh. Yeah, even these I have builds where these lightning balls would just insta-pop me. But right now it's not that bad. Yeah, but yeah, you kinda have to play a little bit slow. Detonate dead, fire damage, didn't deal as much damage as you would expect for some reason. Let's see if we can tank a couple of these. Yeah. We can send in them a little bit, so you know, the build is fairly tanky. Again, it's just the physical damage is a little bit iffy, but play safe. Can work around it. We don't have element immunity. You can technically get it, I guess. With Storm sorry, no Storm Shroud. Yeah, with Storm Shroud you could potentially get it, because you can get avoid elements on shield as well, right? Maybe on boots as well, and then I think we also have a little bit, or maybe even a mastery from shield. So you have the option to get element immunity if you want to, or if you invest enough, right? Bleed, gotta watch for the bleed. We are cursed with vulnerability, so constantly bleeding. That's exactly why I have the pot. Well, it's a very poorly rolled pot, right? But I think it's the wrong way. But saves me from corrupted blood as well as bleed, so makes sense to have it. Alright, we should be closing in on the boss. Oof. That's a lot of attacks. That is a lot of attacks. Ah, I didn't really mean to level up the clarity anymore. Alrighty, let's see. Oh, is this random shrine? Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maligaro is a little bit annoying because he's teleporting. Ooh, this is a rare abomination layout. As you can see, Maligaro hit us once, we're like 30%. You do need to keep the, well, at least try to cast your Arcanist Band every once in a while because it gives us more damage. Ooh. Alright, Maligaro is done. Maybe we do Shav so we don't have to deal with the totems. Oh, Maligaro hit us once and I lost half HP. Oh, I forgot my Enduring Cry. Don't wanna get hit by the blades. They're buying my stuff. Can't, I'm busy. Forgot to turn on D&D. Alright. Very gray. Oof. I think we have a lot of block and a lot of block and spell block. That's why, like, spell block is really good against bosses, so that's why I kind of want to keep it instead of going for a cluster. But you know, if you do want more damage, you can definitely go for a cluster. It's not gonna be that much worse, but you know, well, it's gonna be basically 50% worse because from 74 you go to 50, and that's with like double spell cluster spell. Oh shit. I think I bled out. Well, as you can see, you know, the damage is not that good, but it's not completely terrible. It's primarily the fact that there's a cooldown on it that's hindering the spell. Okay.
I have nothing more to
Yes, charges. And I got too many corrupted blood stacks too fast. I did press the pot at the very end, but I was already in the dot of the AoE. Oh, I'm standing in. Oh, it's the ignite that's killing me. Probably. But yeah, as you can see, the boss is taking a while to kill, but it's possible. Well, we are quite tanky, right? So this is more of a hardcore character, if anything. But obviously, the skill isn't that great, right? Like you can see that it's lacking in a couple of departments. But you know, it works if you want to play it. I mean, it is a pretty cool looking spell, right? I wish it had a transfigured version. Maybe we need to message GGG and get it a transfigured version. But you know, it works, and we are all quite tanky. So, oh, and this character is only level 92 as well, so there's definitely more room to grow. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. And if you want to see more of these videos, try giving it a sub. Helps me out. But yeah, that's about it for today. Talk to you guys later. Bye bye.